It's been about a week now since the mid-season patch 13.10 came out, bringing with it some massive changes to the game. Just before it was released, I made my own video talking about some of the changes coming up, which did pretty well for a YouTuber with just 1,000 subs. And so to say thank you, I thought I'd make a video talking about all the new possible strategies that this patch has enabled, including some new mechanics that have resulted from the minion change that I spoke about in my last video. My name's Rogue and I played League of Legends professionally for 7 years. Now I'm a full-time content creator and coach for all ranks, Iron through to Challenger. So if you want more information of what a coaching session with me will look like, you can find more information by following the link in the video description below. So to start with, we're going to talk about a change that's on subject with my previous video to do with the minion wave timings, and what I think is probably the thing with the biggest impact from this entire patch. So to start with, the first wave of the game remains unchanged, meaning that when the waves come out of base, they arrive in mid lane before they arrive in bot and top. Meaning that when the wave arrives in bot at about 1 minute 38, 1 minute 39, in theory, the next wave should arrive to the side lane in 30 seconds. But because the next wave is out of base, is sped up, the wave isn't arriving 30 seconds later. When it should arrive at about 208, 209, that wave is actually arriving to bot lane at exactly 2 minutes. So instead of waiting 30 seconds between waves, we're only waiting 22 to 23 now, meaning that you can get that level 2 advantage quicker. The rushing level 2 becomes even more important, and leashing becomes more costly. Because if I start in lane and you leash, I can secure my level 2 advantage even quicker because the wave's arriving sooner. This also has really big implications on early invading. A strategy that I can foresee a lot happening is people playing junglers like Kindred, who can start at their red buff and immediately run over the wall at Dragon with a red buff looking for an invade, trying to find the enemy jungler on Gromp. Now, if I let my bot lane start in lane, they can really easily secure level 2. And at that point, the enemy can't contest the wave anymore, and so your bot lane can secure prio earlier and try and crash either the second or the third wave, which again, because the wave is arriving earlier, we can crash that second or third wave 8 to 9 seconds earlier, and so my bot lane can come to support me on that wave even sooner. And because they secured that level 2 advantage sooner and zoned their opponent off the wave, now they have an even bigger wave going into the tower, so the enemy is immobilized for longer, which opens up massive possibilities for deep warding around 2-3 wave crashes and going for really early invades with your jungler. This is why if you main a role in either bot or top lane, you might feel like something strange has been going on in the first 2 waves, especially if you leash, and by the time you finish leashing, you get to lane, it's almost completely uncontestable. This change also combines with another change of the recent patch, which is minions locking onto tower and not switching off. These two changes combining lets you stack up massive waves and get a ton of early tower damage, potentially earning a plate, which is something we'll look at now. In this replay where I'm playing Aphelios on the new patch, you're going to see a great example of exactly what I'm talking about. So here I start in lane, which allows me to put some early damage onto the creep wave, which again, I only have 22 seconds until the next wave now, not 30, and so I have to put more damage onto the creep wave in order to properly secure push. Now, with that early damage on the minions and some good trades utilizing my fully stacked Conqueror, I'm able to completely zone the enemy away from the wave because I already have such a wave advantage with the second wave joining sooner. And even here, I hit level 2 really early into the game, and by the time that third wave arrives, you'll see just a moment when my cannon minion arrives, I have an absolutely huge wave stacked up, and my opponent is still level 2. Now when I crash the wave into the tower, it's all about my options. So as I mentioned first in the video, I have a really great opportunity here to invade the enemy blue if it's something that I want to do, since my opponent has to spend so long bot lane with a wave this big. But with the other change being my second option, all of my minions lock onto the tower, and since my wave is so big because I protected it with the early wave arriving sooner, I'm able to get a ton of tower damage, and even now while fighting in a creep wave, my creeps are still hitting the tower, and at just 3 minutes into the game, I secure a plate. This change is also really important for side laners as it gives a lot of potential counterplay to 3-camp ganks that junglers commonly like to do. Now a 3-camp gank is really common because it's exactly 3 camps it takes to get level 3. And a lot of junglers do it with double buffs, which makes them as strong as possible for that incoming gank. Now there's 2 parts of this change that protect you against this. So first of all, with the wave arriving sooner, you can stack up your wave bigger and do a better job protecting it with an earlier level 2, meaning it gives you more control of the lane. With that extra control of the lane and with the wave arriving 8 seconds sooner, we can crash the waves 8 seconds sooner, potentially avoiding a gank where we would have died but barely crashed the wave in time. And if we pause right here and see the time that Volibear arrives bot, he arrives bot at 2:47. And now when we go and compare that to the last video where I was playing Aphelios and look at the wave crash time, we're crashing the wave into the tower at exactly the same time as when the gank would be hitting. And I don't know many junglers who would want to do a gank like this when the bot lane's stuck under tower and the enemy team has a wave this big. We can even just manage to crash that wave into tower and then go ward the river. And if we end up encountering the enemy jungler in river, the enemy jungler just dies 2v1 because his bot lane is stuck under tower. As mentioned earlier, all of these changes open up the opportunity for invade junglers to flourish. Now with this extra side lane prio, champions like Graves and Kindred can go for more early invades with a ton of prio to protect them. This even lines up well with what I discussed in my previous video. Now that the waves aren't staggered, the game is less so about tower dives. It's more so about taking early dragons and heralds and contesting the enemy jungle, which these champions are phenomenal at. But the champions that win out most on a patch like this would be something like Rengar and Nocturne. Not only do these champions benefit because they love to invade, but the new lethality items are insanely overtuned, and these champions utilize them so well. They're also great at killing AD carries, which with the new AD carry items, AD carries are strong. So when you're playing something that benefits from lethality items, and you're good at killing AD carries, you're in a really good place. Now the reason I use Nocturne and Rengar as my examples isn't just because they use the new lethality items, or because they like to invade early. It's for one other reason as well. Both of these champions have a massive sphere of influence with their ult that allows them to be in 2 lanes at the same time. So, pre-14 minutes now, the waves are arriving in mid at the same time as they're arriving in bot, meaning that most junglers have to pick a lane and only cover that one on that wave. But a champion like Rengar or Nocturne can stand in the center of river and using their ultimate be in range of either lane within seconds. And if someone starts contesting or if the enemy jungler ganks, these champions can instantly counter gank because they can get there so quickly. Now if you're maining jungle or if you just want to watch some AD carry players suffer, I urge you to try both these champions on this new patch. All you have to do is sit back and relax and watch some more Rengar one-shots. Thanks for watching. And if learning more and getting better at League of Legends is something you want to get into, come check out the classes I'm running at Gosu Academy. You're going to be able to level up your game up to twice as fast with 3 sessions a week run by myself and other professional coaches. And with this class structure, we're able to keep things cheaper, meaning you can access 12 coaching sessions with a variety of different coaches for less than the price of a normal one-on-one session. And if you use my code ROGUE at checkout, you're going to get the first month free, so you can easily drop in on one of my sessions and check out exactly what it's all about. So now, just head on down and follow the link in the description below.